So we started off TNA's 11th anniversary show with what made it TNA, with an Ultimate X match for the X Division Championship. Kenny King versus Chris Sabin versus Suicide. I felt this match could have been higher up in the card, but for a crowd pleaser, for a curtain jerker, was a pretty good way to get the fans on their feet.
Well, with TNA slowly, hopefully concentrating on the X Division again, for them to place it as the opener of a important pay-per-view, like you said, definitely was a way to get the crowd going.
There's some good spots in here, some innovative spots, as you expect from an Ultimate X match. You had your typical X Division no selling, but it was a very enjoyable match for me personally. And Chris Sabin winning the belt, you know, I'm not all that surprised. I think this has more to do with option C, really, and there being a heel champion more than really it being. And also, I guess it's more of a story of Chris Sabin returning from the injury and trying to capitalize on that as well in the opener.
Well, instead of continuing, I guess Kenny King will get a rematch or something. But for this, yes, I do believe the aftermath explained roughly why TNA went down this direction.
Yeah, because you had Hulk Hogan coming out to pretty much offer option C to Chris Sabin. It was like, well, I'm going to put Chris Sabin over, and now it's time to put the Hulkster over, brother. Because we had another in-ring segment. We had an in-ring segment with Hulk Hogan. Out comes Anderson, Garrett, and Briscoe after this match, and Hogan was just on like a freelance here, wasn't he? He was sort of like, the pussies in leather and all that kind of stuff, saying that Sting was the best wrestler in the business. Something was definitely put in his milk, wasn't there?
When I saw this, the first thing I thought was, because of Thursday being a tape show, this being live, you could tell that Hogan had that hand injury that he suffered from. So maybe just frustrated. Oh, why did this happen to me? I'm going to take my frustration out on the guys who are not that very good.
You pretty much summed it up. I guess I could say, did we really need this segment? But I guess at least it kind of sort of made some importance to this match that was kind of essentially a filler match. Magnus, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy. The return of the Magnus Enigma. And versus Anderson, Garrett, and Briscoe. The crowd were pretty hot for Joe and Hardy here, who has new facial hair. Briscoe's bad botch on the Twist of Fate was pretty funny, and him pinning Magnus when he wasn't the legal man, there was a bit of a mix-up there with the spots. Could have been a little bit shorter and could have been a lot better, but it was okay.
Like we said in our predictions, this was more focusing on the faces, return from all the injury they went through to get the win on the heels. Yes, you had Garrett and Wes, who haven't been the main highlight ever so much. Anderson doing good work, but this was more to welcome back Hardy.
Indeed, and Jeff Hardy got the pin, as he definitely should do on his return. Jay Bradley versus Sam Shaw in the gut check final for the entrance to the BFG series. Was it me, or did it just seem like this really had it should really never have been on pay-per-view?
Well, to be honest, everyone else that's on the card, I am behind in some way. These two guys, you could say they're good performers maybe, but I'm not really behind them. And plus, the crowd react to them. Maybe they feel the same.
Jay Bradley wins. That is all we need to know there. We had an interesting development with the TV title today. You had Devon and Nux attacking Parkin in the back, and he was bloodied. And then we had the match never actually happened. The referee counted to 10 after Devon, after Joseph Park didn't actually come out for the match. And then we have Abyss coming out for what was the TV championship. It wasn't really official or anything. It was just like a sort of Devon word of mouth kind of match.
I'm hoping it was for the TV title, because that means you still had a title match on the show. It's still given to Joseph Parks because there's no two of them. And Abyss in the match, I do like Abyss. I'm going to give it. I like the Monster Abyss, but this match didn't seem to be like, I'm back, I'm wrestling. It was more even out between the two.
Yeah, I mean, he made his return on the TV show, but I do know what you mean. They made this one quite obvious in the sense we all kind of knew he was going to return here. But I guess my question is, did this match really need to go on as long as it did? I mean, it didn't get that much time, but why did Abyss need to do all this selling when you could have just had a massive crowd reaction and had him win in a quicker match or something? It just would have worked a lot better, especially if he's returning and winning the TV title. They also cut off this segment very quickly as well, which really didn't make it seem that important. The Hall of Fame announcement. Kurt Angle is their next inductee into the TNA Hall of Fame. Can't help but think that even though he's done a lot for the business, I'm not going to say that, I can't but think that this is just so he won't go to WWE or so that he can't be in their Hall of Fame, so they can sort of make claim to Kurt Angle as theirs.
Well, following last year's, they did it to Sting, because obviously Sting could have somehow got involved with the WWE, but this was to claim him as theirs. Angle was the next one, but it was still good to have Angle because he's a big name in WWE, but obviously, as we've just said, TNA wanted to claim him for his big name.
I wonder when TNA will induct one of their guys. Just saying, they've inducted a WCW guy and now a WWE guy, essentially. So I'm just saying, guys. The Tag Team Championship match, which was an elimination match, Bad Influence versus Wet Dream Team, or the Great Factor, as some people like to call them, versus Los Stereotypicos, or Chavo Hernandez, versus Storm and Gunner. You would not have thought that Chavo and Hernandez were faces in this match. I mean, the crowd. It was one of those matches where the crowd kind of wasn't really that into it, even though it had, for us smart marks, it had a lot of performers in there that we kind of like.
Well, they hyped it up quite well with Cad and Daniels bringing up the importance in a backstage promo, bringing up the match. My main focus in this was Chavo. I had hype coming into TNA, but then it quickly went downhill. So this match, I was just looking at obviously James Storm and Gunner because of the way you need James Storm to give him something. Because obviously we've been complaining about James Storm's booking, so putting him here was good.
Daniels and Kaz get eliminated via DQ. That was kind of awkward. And then Aries pins Guerrero via a roll-up. So straight away, we knew we were going to get new champions. There have been plenty of title changes on this pay-per-view. You had Gunner kicking out of this massive ROH-style combo, kind of trying to make him look like a god. And then Gunner and Storm get the victory after Gunner puts the torture rack, I believe, on Bobby Roode. I can't remember which one it was. Not a bad match. It was a decent match. Not as good as the tag match at last year's Slammiversary. But I think that even though this title change was fast-tracked, it was really needed. Because I was getting sick and tired of the same damn people in that damn tag title scene. I really was.
I'm really glad it's been given to James Storm. Because now this is hopefully going to mean James Storm's going to be on TV in a positive role. Gunner's back with the championship, and hopefully, as they were in the final with Bob Roode and Aries, there's going to be a feud built from that.
And they could even use James Storm and Bobby Roode's little rivalry to make it a bit better as well. Gail Kim versus Taryn Terrell. This is one of my surprises of the night. I was really doubting whether or not Taryn Terrell could pull off a last knockout standing. But they did a pretty decent job here. I mean, there were some decent spots. The crossbody on the chair, the figure four on the post, and all stuff like that. The ending was pretty good as well, like Taryn Terrell's version of an RKO from the ramp to the floor. I think this was a good match, mainly in part because of the way the match ended and the way they were kind of building towards that ending at the end and putting over Taryn Terrell.
My focus going to this match, I weren't really behind Taryn Terrell because most of her past wins were roll up, and I was doubting her going to a big match like this.
This changed my opinion.
But Gail Kim, I think, as we said in prediction, we were predicting that Gail Kim was to, in a way, put Terrell over. And I think with all the crowd reaction to the good spots and the fact that you could see actually her wrestling in this, I think this was far one of the best matches we've had so far.
Especially involving Taryn Terrell and the knockouts. AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle in the semi-main event from 2008, just without Karen Angle in there, or who is now Karen Jarrett, of course. I don't know about you, but I was only really half paying attention to this match. I think it's mainly because I've seen them wrestle so many freaking times now. But AJ Styles finally got some new music. It sounded like a bit of an Aces and Eights remix, but at least it's some new music to go with this new character, because his old music really wasn't doing that.
The way it was going down, the fact that it took him a bit of a delay to come out, I thought, have the Aces and Eights got their revenge on AJ? But then he came out with, like Dan said, the new music. It's maybe not the best, but it does match his character, so I give thumbs up to that.
Yeah, the crowd were having a bit of difficulty getting into this one until that top rope German suplex spot, which was pretty damn good. I mean, obviously, these two never have a bad match. It was more about the fact that, did I really care that much about seeing them wrestle, again, even with AJ Styles' new character? Was anyone else surprised that Kurt Angle got the victory with the leveraged pin? Does anyone else feel that that's because of his induction into the Hall of Fame?
That's where I was going to go. I was thinking if Angle weren't the one to go to the Hall of Fame, and it was AJ or someone else, it should have been given to AJ Styles. But maybe AJ Styles is going to attack Angle to find a way to continue the feud, because somehow AJ with his new character needs a win over Angle.
And now it's time for the main event of the evening. I'm really looking forward to this one. You're gonna have to go to Full Killer's channel to watch it though. Terminator NJ versus Fourth Dimension Full Killer. That should be a classic battle between two titans in the YWC or IWC, shouldn't it?
The fact this has been an ongoing feud, nicely built, and it's by far going to be the main event of this pay-per-view.
I mean, I know there are two heels involved in this essentially, but it should be a brutal match, shouldn't it? Anyway, we'll get to the main event of this pay-per-view. The main event which we kind of all forgot about. Bully Ray versus Sting in a no-holds-barred match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. If Sting lost, he wouldn't be able to battle for the World Heavyweight Championship again. You just knew, didn't you, going in, that they couldn't make Sting lose without making him look like a god. They made him look like they were a little version of Super Cena, didn't they? He kicked out of the Spike Pile Driver, on wood, a powerbomb through the table, and all sorts of other stuff as well.
The thing is that Bully Ray was really hyping what he was going to do in this match as a real big thing. And for an old timer like Sting, who we've seen in numerous weeks, not locking in his own finisher very
much, to wear a t-shirt as well.
And now going into this match, I didn't expect it to go this long, but as Dan said, TNA were booking Sting as like a big challenger for Bully Ray.
Despite being 55 years old and being the top guy in a fucking wrestling company, yeah. It was going along okay actually. It wasn't that bad. You get the obligatory Aces and Eights interference, and it's gets to the point where it's like, can't you just have Bully Ray win? I mean, why do they have to have Bully Ray win after Sting takes out all the members of the Aces and Eights, and then he has to win in like a cheaty way, which is, I guess, legal in no holds barred. And also, where were the baby faces when the Aces and Eights are out there dominating Sting? From a storyline standpoint, it was kind of like the replay thing and the Swagger Del Rio match. It just makes not much sense, not much continuity.
My big fan about this is that, yes, the baby faces could have backed up Sting, who obviously was going to this match where they hyped up all night how big this is going to be, how worried you've got to be about this match, blah, blah, blah. But the thing that really I would alter this match is that the Brooke Hogan moment. Instead of using the Ace and Eights to help Bully Ray, you had a chance to use Brooke to help Bully Ray.
Not really sure what Brooke Hogan could have done, but I guess she could have nailed him in the crotch or something, and that would have. And Sting definitely would have laid down 1, 2, 3 to that, because it would have been about the Hulkster's own daughter, brother. So Bully Ray at least wins the match, so Sting now cannot main event another pay-per-view for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, of course, unless they find Sting a bigger main event than the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, which wouldn't surprise me. So what were your overall? A lot of people on Twitter were saying this was a good show. I don't really see why.
I think the matches, they were not bad, but I think the thing that was missing was the crowd reaction played it well in some of the matches. When it got to the main event, I didn't really feel the crowd was really with it, but at least I'd say you could say the right winners won.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but is the right winners winning making a good pay-per-view? I don't really know. For me, this is kind of a mixed bag. I think, like I said on Twitter, I just think this really sums up TNA's product right now. I mean, the ratings are incredibly low. The Aces and Eights storyline is still continuing onwards, and it was just a hard time getting into the show. There was some stuff on there which I liked, but a lot of it I was just like, kind of just meh.
And the thing is, I want to wrap up this part with people I've been speaking to through Twitter, Facebook and stuff, says that I don't believe this whatsoever, that Bully Ray being the champion is the reason why the ratings are so bad.
It's Aces and Eights. It's not just because of Bully Ray. It's because of the Aces and Eights and other things which you can't really, which some things you just can't really pinpoint on. It's just ratings, unfortunately. That's Nielsen ratings for you. So nowhere near as good as last year's, but we've gone on about this long enough now. Just not a show that kind of just says to me, wow, this is TNA's real new direction. It makes Sting look like a god. This is all you really need to know. Leave your comments down in the comment section. I know this hasn't been like the best review ever, but it's 4:30 a.m., so kill us, please.
And now on to the real main event, where we're going to see Terminator NJ vs. Fourth Dimension Full Killer on Full Killer's channel, which will be linked
down in the description box below. Thank you very much for watching this review. I am Mr. Parkin. This guy sitting next to me is NJ.
What's up?
More importantly, because he doesn't think he's a god, go subscribe to Full Killer's channel to watch this death match. I know I will be eagerly awaiting Full Killer to upload his Slammiversary 2013 review so we can see this match. So yes, thank you very much for watching this review, and goodbye.
Tonight I will prove that I am better than Fourth Dimension Full Killer.
Hey, shouldn't you be training for that fight?